Rudy, Val, Adam, thank you so much for joining us. How's everyone feeling now that the window's closed? We can all breathe finally.
Hi, Casey. Yeah, finally, it's been a long process, so it doesn't start just in July. You have to prepare yourself before that. So when it's over, at least we can focus on the squad that we have, the player that we have in the building, and now the work is starting properly.
So just a little bit of an introduction to each of you for those that don't know. Adam, could you just talk us through a little bit about your role within the club?
Yeah, obviously the title is Head of Technical Development, which involves a lot of structuring, a lot of the key sort of role really is the alignment from the academy right through to the first team in terms of the performance side of things from a technical development point of view, individual player development, sports science, data science. So it's really bringing all that together to allow us to be able to work in a very similar fashion from the first team head coach right down to the under nines.
And Val, obviously you are the head coach of the first team. What does deadline day look like to you?
We knew that at the end of the season and the beginning of the windows that something happened with the player who still have one year contract, but you face the issue we had and how the things happened. I think it was just difficult to deal, but we made it well. I think we were well prepared, and it just brought some hectic and chaos till the last minute actually. So yeah, I was the last day I was home, but just my body was home, my brain was with Rudy, and silent contact just to take our decision, what we have to do. Now we feel good because we shut the windows now, and now we can start to work with the player. We need calm. The player needs calm now. We need to work with them, to integrate them. They need to settle. And when you are every week touching the squad, one in, one out, one in, one out, at some point become difficult to get that calm. But now we have the time to work with the player.
And Rudy, what does the transfer window look like for you?
That's why you prepare the squad for the season, but you start early in the year to try to understand which position you will have to add players, add value, try to also discuss the contract situation with the players under contract. So it's a big preparation. But when you get there, when everything is open, I don't know for which reason, but every club is waiting the last few days of transfer window to make the most of it, when we could finish the transfer window much earlier. So you have just prepare yourself for every situation, and then you make the right decision with the people around you.
Val, obviously we've signed 10 new players this window. Generally, are you feeling like the squad is stronger than it was at the start of the summer?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we replace all the players who left us. I think this is was one of our first thoughts, and to make sure we can replace with the quality. We reduce the average age of the players. We wanted to work with assets, and we create really good assets for the club. From the 10 players, we bought 8. 2 are on loan, but actually, it feels like our players because we are on. So we take the decision for the future. And we took the player after the profile we are looking for, with a lot of energy, technical ability, versatility, and a lot of potential in the player. So I think we made it like we expected. I think we saw already on the pitch at the beginning of the season, the performance was right in a lot of games. And now it's all about to come together. The player, this is what takes time. Every time, the player need time, need calm, need focus on the pitch, and at some point we'll get the reward.
So you talked about technicality and versatility. Were there any other areas you felt like we absolutely had to strengthen during this window?
I think we made it. I think with the attacking part, we made it at the end. I think that is credit to Rudy. With Andre Gugnodsen, I think that it was a surprising call, because when we saw the opportunity to get him, we under quick, and I think it was a positive sign, the way we working. Everything happened really normal with him and actually quick, and we had some new quality in that position. Yeah, we are flexible as well. But as I say now, it's just to get to know the player. Henry signed for us, but I didn't see him on the pitch at the minute because he's away with the national team. So we need to train. So we've got some exciting players signing, and so and hopefully they can get all the time they need to show the quality they have. That at least what we saw in those players. And on the other hand, we try to find the balance between British players and foreign players. As you know, on the domestic market, very difficult. Maybe Rudy can say something about that. For sure, sometimes you want to add a little bit more British player, but the market is just difficult for us. We have some example where we agree with the British player. They were keen to come, and around the corner comes the other team and just give more money and makes for us the things more difficult. But when you're going abroad, it's easy to deal with the situation. So this is all the things we face behind the scene that were very difficult to deal with on daily basis. But we stay patient and we stay focused. And as I say, we were focused on the profile of the player we wanted. Because this is exactly what you need on the pitch: energy, versatility, technically, and we create asset for the.
And Rudy, how do you deal with those last minute changes when a deal's about to go through? And it must be quite a challenge.
That's how you prepare yourself. So we've got different options. You would talk to the first option. It's not happening, you know, the other one, you make the job also. So it's never like a straightforward situation. We had a few calls with players, some were very keen to join us, but then, as I mentioned, other clubs got play with some more financial power sometimes, but that's just the reality of football. We deal with our strength. We want players that committed to come to play for Blackburn Rovers, which is key for us also, to assess the character. Once we got things on the line, let's make the decision.
What other characteristics do you look for in a new signing other than footballing ability?
So speaking English was something we were bima, because to adapt quicker in to speak the language. So most of them, except Musa, they can speak very good English. So that was key. Then it's also, we do our work on players, how they adapt, how do they speak in the training room, how do they interview, how do they face when we talk to them on video. And if we all okay with that, then we go further. And then it's honors there. We had a situation with one player, very excited about it, with physicality, video-wise, everything was good. And we done the video, and we were just off. No connection. He was not engaging. So we just have to call now. We cannot make this happen. So that's both sides. Sometimes we just make the decision not to sign the player for this weekend.
Not 1 minute, it was clear. You have the experience over the year when you speak with players, and after 1 minute, actually, I wanted to say Rudy that happened out of the support. Yeah, but that's why it's important either to see the players or just to talk with them to get a feeling about that. All the players are wanted to come. We have some competition on some player that took the decision to come to us. They want to be here. They believe in the path we show for the players, and that's why it's really good to stay connected, to work together, and to take the decision together. I think this is the main thing. The decision we take, we wanted all the players.
Adam, when we speak about international transfers, are there some challenges compared to leagues in other countries that you face, and how do you prepare new signings from other countries for the Championship?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think obviously everybody knows and talks about the demands of the Championship, and from a physical perspective, the demands are really significant, as well as the intensity of the Championship being really high compared to an awful lot of the leagues around the world, especially leagues that I've worked in previously. Players are players; they all prepare in different ways. But I think what's been really positive is the alignment that we have in terms of the methodology and the way that the club works, literally from the under-9s right through to the senior team. So when we're bringing players in at different age groups, never mind even from overseas, it's really important that they have that time to bed in, get used to the intensity, especially the intensity of the training, because it's very demanding. And it's very demanding for a reason, because we need to develop players to perform for the club, but also we want to try and get them to the next level. And that's what we really are from a club point of view. The club's been well known over the last 20 years, 30 years as being a club that develops players way before our time, and hopefully that'll continue through our time as well. So, it's all about giving them the opportunity to bed in, get used to the training demands to start with. And I think, as you've seen from the first couple of signings with how Val's managed them, he's not thrown them straight in if they've not been ready. It's been about getting them ready, getting used to the training load, getting used to the intensity of games, more importantly, getting used to the way that the manager wants to play. And then you'll start to see players filter in a little bit more over time into the game.
So we asked fans to submit their questions, and we received around 1,000 submissions.
That's good.
So we've picked a few.
So are you going from 1 to 1,000?
Yeah, we're doing them all.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I call my wife and my kids just to make sure.
So first one's quite a nice one, actually. It's from Albie. They first of all want to say thank you, Val, for all your efforts so far. And they're asking, how much input do you have in new signings?
I think we explained, or Adam explained very well, how we want to work. So the first things for us, the main things is the physicality. So the data are player able to do the job what we expected. It might be a player from abroad, it might be from the domestic market, or it might be from the academy. So this is the first things we try to do. So we're talking about those numbers we want to see. And when we think that it might be a player we're able to reach the numbers, then we are doing the next step, talking with the players. Then another part of negotiation is the Rudy part. Everything on the pitch with Adam, we're talking, for example, the academy players that are able to do the job, so they need to play and to train. Which player can train with us? So we need to coordinate everything. So actually, we are working all together. That we are aligned on the idea how we want to pick the players, what we need in the modern football: energy, intensity, technical ability to the players. We develop players. And this is what we want, and then create a pathway for your young academy boys. So this is all. We are all on the same page, like we want, and everyone has this job to do. But for sure, my job is to make sure that everything we think in the office and brainstorming that we can see on the pitch.
So Simon wants to know, what is the recruitment strategy when it comes to players from overseas, UK, and the academy? So we've sort of touched on it, but what is the general strategy there?
Hello, Simon. So we plan it with squad planning. So we know which players can be on the contract, which players in the last year contract, which going to be out of contract. Then we see what we've got, what type of player do we have at the academy. So instead of going and buy a player, do we have someone who can push from behind and maybe have a spot then that Christy is doing this season, pushing. He's doing very well. And if we don't have the players in the building, then what can we find? So if it's the UK market or abroad international markets, it doesn't make any difference to us. We just need to find the right profile and the right players that's going to fit what we want to do at the club, and it's going to fit with the way of playing of back. So once we got all the information, then we decide to move forward on it there.
So can you tell us how early in the window transfer conversations actually start? Because I think some people may be under the impression that everything's quite last minute.
No, this season you start to do the first one you do. It's quite early because of the situation in the Sion club work. We're allowed to sign players before July. So let's say we start from the wood season. For the summer transfer window, we start to prepare March, I would say. Because you just finish with January, you be looking for sign, and then March you start to prepare for the summer sign. So we plan the squad, as I just said before, and then we give the plan to the recruitment department. They do their work, they do very well, and then when we decide that, okay, we can move forward, we contact the club will have permission to speak to the players, And when we can speak to the player, we'll do a meeting, and when we know it's the right one, we'll try to negotiate with the club. So, as I mentioned before, if we could have done the transfer window could have been done much earlier than the last day. But some clubs really like to come on the last day. We were prepared for that because we know the situation on our player. We engaged with them before the end of the season, so we knew what they're thinking coming to the next season. And then that's our job, to be prepared to provide the players as early as we can for Val to our circle. But sometimes you cannot do it. So we try to organize the squad before the first camp, so that that's there where they can gel together. But unfortunately, we cannot have all the players, and some players going to leave the big after that. So we just need to prepare ourselves for that.
What we can say as well is sometimes we're ready with the players. We know exactly the player we really want, but something happened. I can give two examples with Lewis Miller, for example. We wanted him earlier in the windows, but he got injured. And we hear he's with the 3 weeks. So we decide, what shall we do now? We were convinced on the players. He hit the numbers, young player, potential national players. So with international exposure for Blackburn Rovers, if he's going to the World Cup. And we are convinced for the player, but now we have to wait 3 weeks to see how he's come back from his injury. And as soon as he's come back from injury, we made the deal. So it's, for example, one example while it takes time. Sometimes you don't have the choice. And the other one is with Mori. With Mori, we have 2 wingers on the list we wanted, but earlier in the windows. And at some point, Mori was the one we wanted. We were really, really convinced. And we say, okay, maybe we have to wait. So at the same time, we try to assess the market. Can we get on the domestic market and a winger? But we were not that convinced, and we were really focused. And we heard from his club to say, yes, in my league, but not now, because we're playing the qualification, Europa League. So we need him to play with us. So our question is, shall we take the risk if something happens and we stay there without players, or we are so convinced that we are waiting for him because he was engaged with us. He said, yes, I want to come to the Rovers. And at the end, we took the decision to wait. And that's why he came very, very late in the windows. So just to answer the question for the fans, no, maybe you get that feeling that it's last minute deal, but it was not last minute deal. We prepared 3 months or 2 months earlier, and you have to adapt with all the situation you face. But at the end of the day, if you are convinced from a player, you have to wait for it. And it was a 2 example in our squad where it was worth it to wait for.
The third one could be Musa.
Yeah,
Musa came earlier, but he was situation. So he came, we in the medical, he was assaulted, and we realized something maybe was wrong. So we had to put a stop in injuries, do more medicals, and we negotiated with the club, obviously, on the contract situation and the agreement. And a few weeks after that, for some reason, with his own club, but they wanted to do more testing. We had the green lights. We had the back from the board also that's on the situation, and we said, okay, Mike can go on a loan, not on permanent, but with the view to sign. So now when he's going to be fully fit, it's going to be a nice head for the club and bring his value. That's also why he came a bit later compared to the other one. We signed Nyon, we signed Sydney before the beginning of the season. So we were prepared as mentioned before, that you have to adapt to the market.
A little bit of talk recently about contracts as well. How important was it for you this window to sign players on longer contracts?
As we mentioned, we need to create asset at the club. So usually it's been like we use loan from a league team, but the cap between Premier League and Champions getting bigger and bigger, and the financial are getting bigger and bigger. So not to bring a young player from Premier League, because you more than you experience the established player in Championship. So we decided to, okay, let's go for our conference. Let's create assets. Is that we need a bit of time to develop, obviously, but then that's our own players. We don't plan for JDC, then we apply for the 3, 4, 5 meeting. So then it's a collective decision, and we say, okay, let's sign players under contracts that the club owns, and then we give them the platform, the opportunity to develop. And that's how they in green environment.
Good thing on that, we can say that this situation this summer won't happen again at least the next 3 years, because now we sign players with 3 years contract plus option, and as I say, even the player on loan still actually are our players, and because we can decide at any time to get them. So normally now next summer won't be exactly the same. So we will have a team together. They will play 1 season together, and we start on another level. So it makes the things easier to work. We wanted to avoid the transition, but now it was clear that we had to do it now. We have to go through now all the process, the transition, or what it means with the bumpy road and everything like that. But at least we know now for the future the club next season it won't happen again. There will be maybe 1 or 2 players, 3 players for position we have to deal. It's normal, but not that amount of player like this.
How do signings that we make later on in the window adapt quickly to be match fit as soon as possible?
Yeah, it's always a tough one, and that's every club you go to. It's always the same. You know, you get players coming into the club in different levels. If you bring them in early, which is what we spoke about towards the end of last season, it's always the plan. Unfortunately, due to the situations that does arise with certain players based on, you know, European games, so they can't join you there, and then it drags on a little bit. So it's always a tough situation because you want everybody at the same level. You get people coming at different stages, and again, that's why it's been really, really important. Our new head of performance, Nacho, that's come in, for example, works very, very closely with Val and the other staff. And from my point of view, it's always just about the testing, the monitoring, seeing where they are. The manager's got a really good indication from a physical point of view as well, so he understands where the players are, and it's just about gauging the training load, the exposure to the match minutes, just to try and get everybody at a level. So it's really important that they come in a really good place. I think we've only had 1 player that's come in that wasn't training with a club week to week. So the integration and how the staff integrated Ryan was really good. It's very easy to put them in and let them swim very, very quickly. But even though it's the harder thing to do, because we knew Callum was probably going to leave and we needed Ryan quickly, it's easier for Val to throw him in. However, to give him the time to prepare himself, you know, hopefully you've seen in the first couple of games of the potential of where he is. But again, that's credit to the way that we've managed to protect him as well as expose him.
I've got a question here from Tony. This is for all of you, so we'll start with Rudy. Which new signing excites you the most and why?
It's hard to pick one. You know, I don't want to pick one. Obviously, so much.
It's like picking your favorite child, Rudy. No?
I've got one. I've got favorite one. But I cannot mention she's my girl. Yeah.
Now it's you. I love my kids, my boy. Yeah. Now, what I mean is, they all bring something different. Some will adapt quicker than the other, and we knew that. We can see for the first 3 games, Sidney did well, Ryan did well, Dion started well the preseason. So they all bring something different. I cannot just pick one, but we're all excited about what they can bring going forward. So we believe that we are the good transfer window, and we brought the players going to make the club better now in the future. So I'm very pleased with that.
Every player has a role to play in the team. So Sean, for example, he has a different role than Morishita, different role than Sidney, different role than Ryan. So for me, it's very important that every player plays part of the game. And Sean is a more experienced player, left-footed centre-back, knows the league, British player. So it was a profile we needed. And I think he ticked out the box and he plays so far on very, very good level. And we can go on with all our players, but one thing is clear as well, is some player will adapt quickly, some player will need more time. Just the personality of the players. Some players just came from another country, and the first time out of the country, the comfort zone, just to adapt a new language, a new way to play, intensity, new league. It might be at the beginning maybe a little bit scary for them to realize, oh, it's tougher than I expected. And then we just need to give time, to give the love they need and the understanding they need. At some point, we need to perform. It's clear. But our job is to pick the player who is ready at the minute to perform for us and to give the other time to develop. And at some point, we'll get our rhythm, our level. But as I say, we've got attacking player was very exciting player. About in midfield, very exciting player with a different profile. Very good technically, very good on the ball. Attacking was with a lot of energy, a pace to press, to have that intensity, and then the back line. I think now we are very exciting back line with balance between experience, young. I think yes, we cannot pick any players because everyone has a different role to play. And it's just exciting to see all of them on the pitch.
So Adam, we're relying on you to give us a real
Come on,
answer.
pick one, Adam.
We didn't sign any Welsh players, so I'm not really. I can't pick one.
I have one, but it's not a signing. So he's for me a new player is Scott Wharton, because I think after 1 year without playing a game of 15 months, and then to see him, that comeback, that mentality, that consistency, and now to be able to compete at that level and to perform, is the one he's excited to see.
Following the departure of experienced players like Dom Hyam, like Lewis Travis, who do you see as the leaders in the team currently?
Yeah, I think first of all, for the departures is a situation where it was clear before or at the end of the season that we have a couple of players with 1 year contract left. We had the experience with Karis Dolan, what's happened, and we knew it can't happen again when you have really value and big asset in the team. So either you are able to sell them, even when you are not willing to sell them, or you have to extend the contract. So this is actually the normal rules in football. We were not able to extend contract for different reasons. And as I say, it's happened before our time to come into that point. And at some point, then there is only one possibility for us is to sell the players. When you got 4 or 5 players who are able to leave the club, you cannot afford to let them all for free, because it's a lot of money for the clubs, and that's why we had to deal with this situation. And I think the club made it perfectly to get the expectation price we expected for the players. For sure, you are losing experienced player, the player who got that identity from the team the last 3-4 years and more for some players. But now is a new chapter, is a new book to write. So exactly the same situation when those players was young players. And so this is the exciting side of the situation. At the minute, we have players like Scott Wharton, Sean McLaughlin, who are able to step up. Todd Cantwell is our captain, and I think he's sure already on the pitch now. He's ready to take the leadership. He's another kind of captain. He's not the aggressive one, vocal one, but he's the technical one, the smart one, who able to find the right word with everyone at the club. Sonny playing at high levels since beginning of the season. So, and some player who got the potential as well to lead, so to step up now, to use the new situation to find themselves in the squad. So, like Sydney, for example, we saw the potential is in. For sure, you need to be focused now on his own performance, but he's the kind of player we can see in 1 to 3 years to be part of the leadership group.
So just going back to Dom Hyam, obviously that all happened very last minute. How early did those conversations actually start?
Start after the season when we try to engage with him about a new contract. We engage with the agent. So for the deal to happen, you need like 4 parties. You need the club, the selling club. You need the buying club, the player, and the agent.
So we sit down with all of them who left the club this season, try to negotiate a new contract. We've got a wage structure at the club, so we don't spend more than a certain amount. We try to put all of them to this amount. Some were already there, some were not, but we try to put all of them to this amount, and they refuse to sign the contract. So then as a club, but also as a business, we need to make a decision. So when we discuss them and say, okay, if you don't want to sign a new contract, we're going to have a discussion with your agents to see what's coming and what we can do. And then the agent come, because that's their job. They go to a new club, try to get the best contract for their players. They contact us, okay, we've got this on the table. That's some players we didn't want them to leave because we knew how valuable they were on the pitch. But we have to make the decision. And when the player is calling you, is pushing to leave, we need committed players at the club. So that's more important. That's the money or something else. When the player is coming to you and say, I want to leave the club, that means his head is not there anymore. So you have to think for the rest of the group. You have to think for the club. You have to think for the future. And then you make a decision. Then it's negotiation. When we get the right valuation that we believe as a club, we have to sell the players. But as I said, it's not just the club deciding to sell players to a fraud or anything. We wanted to keep them. They decided to leave.
Was it a similar situation with Lewis Travis? Because I think that came as a bit of a shock to people as well.
All of them was the same situation. We engaged with Trav at the end of the season to sign a new contract. He decided it was probably the right time for him to leave. He had different type of offer from a club where he was meeting his previous head coach, Eustace, and then he came to us saying that I want to leave. So when the players come in and say you want to discover a new challenge, just what I said before, you have to listen to him. We want committed player at the club. If they're not committed anymore for Blackburn Rovers, they made the decision. Then our job is to get the best valuation for the club. We did it, and then we left for Derby.
I think that the main thing we have to learn from those situations is, especially for the new signing we had, we need to get the timing right. When is the right timing to extend the player before that the value goes very high? If we want to keep the salary cap right for us, then we need to pick the right time to extend the contract and not to become within that situation where the player is a strong position, 1 year left on his contract, he can decide to extend or not, on his condition or not. So it's difficult after for the club to negotiate. So that, I think, is the thing to improve in the future, to make sure to pick the right time. Even if it's after 1 year, if everyone at the club is convinced, if the fan are happy and then the player is happy, then we have to extend quickly and to make sure that we avoid all the problems we had. But as I said, we deal with the problem, the past problem. It was not something we made it. We had to deal. We knew that. We didn't want it to have that transition. We wanted to extend the contract. We wanted to extend a lot of players to get that stability, to work on the squad properly. It was not possible. Really explain clearly why, because you need all the side to be involved and wanted to come. But is nothing wrong about that. It's just the business. Yeah. The player put himself in a good position to negotiate after a good season. Then you have to get the best of the situation for us, even when it's painful to lose player. But as I said, then on the other hand, is a chance now for other player to step up and to show up and to create their own story.
Yeah, it's always an opportunity for someone else to behind. Mayam came late in the transfer window, but we knew before transfer window that if something come, we had to discuss. And Wrexham came, and the players wanted to leave, wanted to join Wrexham, sorry. So we find the right valuation for the club, and then we made the deal. So, but we were prepared. We had Lewis Miller in the building. We had Ryan Alibiasu, and we knew Taylor was ready to come if Adam was leaving. So everything is sorted. The squad is the squad we wanted. So they didn't catch us by surprise or anything like this. The only thing I would like to add is Danny Bath and on-development situation is a bit different. We engage with them also to sign a new contract, but based on location, they said I would prefer to be closer to my house and the family. I'm getting late in my career. I want my kids to be able to come and to see me. So that was a discussion we had. and then they decided to join Derby, which is closer to their house. So it's a bit different because at first they were okay to sign the contract, but then after a few weeks they changed their mind.
And then last thing to agree with Dom's situation as well, that for people to understand that we turned down 2 offers, so we were not willing to sell it. On the Sunday we have a lot of discussion, but at some point we put extra high price to say, okay, they won't come back, but they came back, and at some point, if the price is that high, you have to explain the owner as well why you want to turn down that kind of offer for a 30-year-old player, 1 year left on his contract, with maybe the possibility to leave for free and then next summer. But now you can have a big amount of money we didn't expect it, and that's why at the end we had to do the deal. But we turned down 2 offers, and they were already high. But at the end, Wrexham wanted absolutely to get the deal done. I think the time was on our side, the pressure was there on their side, and they have to take the decision, yes or not, for our price. And they made.
You talk about passion for the club as well, and we can see that excitement to be here from some of our new signings, particularly Murray and Taylor. Both seem really excited to be at Rovers.
That must really help their performance as well.
Yes, on the pitch, you need to have to feel the passion of the club. You need the willingness to be there, fight for the club, fight for the shirt. Taylor is a different situation also because Val gave him his debut at West Brom, so he said, I need to pay him back, and that's why he was excited to join us. Murray wanted to come in UK in the plan where if you perform, you will get access to a Japanese national team and to go to the World Cup like UT did. So everything was on our side, and the project that we are selling to the player, project that we want to put in place with Adam, with Val, with the board, and everybody involved at the club. It's exciting. So we try to sell the project as much as we can, and when they put this feeling, they join us, and then on the pitch, that's up to them to express themselves.
Adam, really exciting new appointment for a loan manager, Jordan Rhodes. What does that mean in the club? What could you tell us a little bit more about his role?
Yeah, obviously his role is, head of loans. So from my point of view, as well as the club moving forward, I think it's a real fundamental role within the club. The way that we've really focused the sort of strategy and the sustainability element of the club and what we are trying to achieve, and obviously one of the reasons was the project that I came into was really about trying to develop the next crop of young players coming through. We think that role within this club is really fundamental, because the opportunity for players to go out and gain exposure, play in senior football, will accelerate their development. And I think we've seen that already with the likes of Christie, for example. Last year went to Marine, came back, went to Chorley at a higher level, came back and obviously made his debut under Val. I think it was here against Sheffield Wednesday he came on. And ever since then, he's grown, he's got stronger, he's got used to the senior training environment. So that's a real perfect scenario for us. Now it's about getting more and more players through that system. Obviously, as a Cat 1 Academy, we have our under-18s, we have our under-21s, but there's a big gap between the under-21 football to make that step into the championship. So to bridge that gap, we feel as a club, the next step for us is to really accelerate the development by getting players out on loan. So Jordan obviously knows the club. He knows very well. He's had a lot of loans as a player himself. The role of the loan manager, especially in this club with the way that we're developing the club, is really to bridge that gap and hopefully get more younger players into the squad as fast as possible.
Speaking of sending players out on loan to gain experience, we've got Conor O'Riordan currently at Doncaster, who's had some really positive feedback recently. That just sort of proves your point, doesn't it? That it's vital for them to go out on loan and gain that experience.
Yeah, it's again, there's no substitute for playing senior football. Val always says, the pitch doesn't lie. So you have to go out there, you have to experience it. So for us, we see that as a stepping stone really into the senior squad, especially for our high potential players that we feel have got an opportunity. But no, it's fundamental. Last year we had a few players out on loan, and various divisions. Some of them were positive, some of them were negative, but I think every loan that you go out on is a learning curve, whether it's a positive or negative. You have to learn from it.
I think for us, the next step to do is a loan is not automatically a loan, because you have to find a club who maybe playing the same way we want to play, to train maybe the same way we want to train, to play in a team when you are on the front foot. You want to be aggressive, you want to play energy. That makes more sense for us, for our young players, rather to be in a team when you sit in low block and then you won't have the ball. You want to have some stuff in possession, but if you don't have the balls, and we can see actually our players in a real situation, okay, just defending the box, but on a high level is not enough. So I think the next step to do is to pick the right club for our players to prove them that able to play with us, to get that experience they need to play in the senior football. I think this is the most challenging thing to do. Which club, which division is good for our player. For sure, if you can get the player in League One, it's perfect. League Two is good. Below that, we have to be really selective to what is the best for us to protect our player.
We received a lot of questions regarding the strength of our defence. Few concerns about recent injuries with Scott Wharton, Hayden Carter. How do you feel about our current options at centre-back?
I think at the minute we've got 4 centre-back with Lewis Miller, Hayden Carter, Scott Wharton and Sean. Actually, 4 centre-back when you're playing a back 4 should be enough. From any club, play with 4 centre-backs. For sure, we have some question with Scott, with Hayden. If you see the injury record, maybe, but I think at the minute we got the numbers we want. After we will see what's happened on the pitch, and we will take our decision. But we try to pick players when who are versatile and able to play 2, 3, 4 position. I think it will be our strength this season, and that's why we took Levis. And as well, we knew that everyone saw him as a right back, but I come from the centre back position, and when I saw him playing as a centre back, the clip with the national team, and then some game he had, he's big, he's fast, he's good technically, he loves the duels, good with the header. For me, it was clear that actually he has a perfect profile for the centre back, and we try him in the back 4, and in a cup game, he was right away man of the match. For me, he's actually the perfect modern centre back, so that's why I'm looking forward to see him in that position. But he's the perfect example that's not playing only one position. You want to go as a right now, he's not a right back. He's a versatile defender, and in my opinion, he will be a great.
We have a question here from Douglas. Any particular academy players that have caught your eye recently and could possibly step up to the first team in the near future?
Yes, I think we had already. I think we saw quite all the players in for the preseason.
Yeah, a lot of them got an opportunity up and down.
I think we really, and for sure with Christy and Igor, Lawrence, Nick, Marie. I feel is the one at the end as well. We have some player who I think are close to the first team, are more around in the training session. They got the intensity, and now it just the pitch will tell us at some point we will need everyone. So it's always the same experience in championship. Even the academy goes at some points, the season so long. At some point, you will need them, and after they have to be ready to take the chance.
The one thing I've got to say as well regarding that is now the way that we've really tried to align things is the way that the academy work is directly in line now with everything else that we're trying to do from a profile point of view, from an intensity, from even players, the academy players going out training double sessions, really working on the values that it would take to be a Premier League player. And the one thing when we're working with an academy group, we're trying to develop them for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So we have to have an understanding as a club and being on top of what the future game looks like. If you're only coaching under 12s for now, the game will continuously evolve, whether that's physically, technically, tactically. So again, it's really, really key that we keep that foresight moving forward, the vision of where we're trying to move the club to. So that's been really important and something that the staff from the first team staff have been really involved in. So it's really positive for the club moving forward.
So talking about players moving up from the academy or from different leagues, and obviously in the Championship we're getting to the point in the season where we may have a game on a Saturday and then another one on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are some of the most important recovery methods that they use to make sure they're ready for the Tuesday game?
Yeah, well, the biggest recovery tool you can do is in the gym, from my point of view, building the robustness, the strength in the legs. And I won't bore you all with the details, but from a scientific point of view, but the stronger the legs, the better you recover from match days, the more prepared you are for the next training day. So, the facilities we've got at the training ground allow us to do that. We've got a swimming pool. We have a full-time nutritionist with us as well. So for me, I always go back to the basics of compression from a recovery point of view, swimming pool, getting the muscles moving again, really, really light in the way that we work. Sleep is probably the biggest recovery tool that we have. So we really work in a really detailed fashion with the recovery elements. So for me, not only the training load of that, but making sure that we have that recovery period within the swimming pool, within the nutrition, the sleep, the access to the nutritionist within the club's massive. So there's lots and lots of different things going on in the training ground, massage. So yeah, we have a cryotherapy chamber also where the players will go in after games and try and accelerate that recovery process. So lots of different recovery methods are there for the players to utilize it. The key really is what goes on the grass in terms of the load management post match to get them ready for the next game. So yeah, lots of different options.
Two different things important. When you got only 2 days between games or 3 days, make a massive difference. The Saturday, Tuesday games, the most difficult to manage, or the Wednesday, Saturday games are very difficult to manage because 2 days after the game is the most important game for the player to recover. So you cannot put a lot of loads because otherwise the injury risk will be getting bigger and bigger. So you have to manage the player because you have to train. 2 days after the game is 1 day before the game. So you have to train, but you have to manage the load to make sure that the player is able to do the job the day after. If you have 3 days between the game, it's much easier to manage because the second day will be either recovery or will be off for the player, and then you are working on the game on the third game, but with more recover. So a normal week for the player they're used to. So actually, the difference is when is it Saturday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Saturday games is much more difficult to deal, and especially in the recovery. Plus the travel, depend where you are. If you are playing home, it's easier, it's help. But if you are traveling Saturday away, Tuesday away, then become complicated for the recovery.
We recently heard Sonny Tronstad on a podcast talking about the impact that it has when he's playing and you can hear the fans singing his name. How important do you think it is for the fans to be here and get behind the players during the match? And do you think it does affect the performance?
Yes, when I was playing as on the pitch at certain point. So when you are in the moment, you don't hear the fan that much, but when it's like corner, throwing something, that's when you feel the atmosphere, especially at the end of the game when they're pushing for you to score something. So yes, it helps when they are behind you and they support you or they shout your name, it give you a small boost. So it is something that obviously it's needed to perform into the extra minutes, extra 10 minutes, especially now the extra time going to 10, 15 minutes. If they're behind you, it gives you something different.
Yeah, it's very important, especially for us as well this season. We're in transition with a lot of new players. So they need to get that confidence. You can imagine the new players coming in, you look the fans and you see that and we give him some new feeling and something you want to experience again and again, and you need the support. And then I think it's massive for them to perform, to give that energy and that reliability that whatever happen on the pitch, they will be behind it. As long as we are doing the right thing, as long as we are giving everything, as long as we play with intensity, we play with courage. Even when we are down to 10, when we try to do the right thing, the player will get the reward. And I think is a message everyone need to understand the players and put the performance first on the pitch, because our fans react always positively on a great performance.
So there have been a few fan reports online regarding an uncomfortable environment at the training ground. What are your views on this?
My view. So you have to make decision when you look after the business, any type of industry. So we decided to restructure the environment last year, and we different jobs opened, and unfortunately some jobs were probably not in the picture anymore. So two of the long time employees at the club left, and after that we brought new faces in the building, and the environment is good. Everybody's excited about the challenge. So being accused online to make people cry or to ask people to cover their arms, and or you have been accused to put Harry Leonard in the 21 and all of that, that was a surprise for me, because I'm not involved or where Harry is going to train. That's the technical staff who deal with that. I'm not a dictator, so you come and you dress as you wish, as long as it's appropriate in a professional environment. But that's not me to say if you have to cover your arms or not. That's everybody's, I think, big enough to make their own decisions. If we have to have a tough discussion, I will have a tough discussion with him, because we've got the business to run, we've got some standards to reach, but in a respectful way. And if you want to have a tough discussion with me, I'm open to it. But also I praise people. I try to create a good environment, so it will be easier for someone to come and ask the people at the STC if they feel good to work there, and see how they react. But I believe, and we believe all together, that we try to create nice environments where performance is key, but also where people is happy to come and work there.
So Rudy, you mentioned earlier about already looking to next year, next few years even. What does long-term planning mean at Rovers, and are you looking at January already for the next transfer window?
Now we're going to take a break of maybe 2-3 weeks, and just assess this team, see how they react for that for next few weeks. And if we feel that there isn't a space somewhere we can strengthen the team on some position, then we'll discuss it together and make this in January. There is some clubs has been very successful without any signing. Recently, we've seen that is Liverpool. So if we have to sign someone, we will. But it's not. If it's not a need, we would be like okay without it. But we have to plan. We have to prepare ourselves for any type of situation. We still have some players going to be out of contract, or 1-year contract, or something could happen in January. So our job is to prepare for the future. And going forward, we try to plan as long as we can. But we know football, it's a long term. Every week you get judged, so we have to make sure also we are performing on a weekly basis, but also for the sustainability of being able to plan and probably look after our players and that's that.
It's always important to be able to try and visualize where we want to be, what we want to try and do. Unfortunately, you have to deal with the short and the medium term at the same time. So obviously, from a short-term point of view, I'm engaged daily with Val, with the staff, with the support staff, all the different departments. So short-term wise, we're constantly trying to provide as much information that we can from all the different departments and sit on top of those in terms of medical, data science, sports science, from the analysis side of things. And then obviously then there's the academy strategy. So, the long-term vision of the club is something, like I said to you earlier, it's about trying to understand where the game's going. We've already seen over the last 30 years how the speed of the game's improved significantly, doubled in some cases in terms of the physicality that's out there and what we feel it's going to be like moving forward, which is one of the main reasons that we've managed to, through the use of setting up a data science department, it gives us a few more insights into what we feel the club will look like further down the line and how we can bridge the gap short, medium, and long term, both within the academy in the way that we're trying to put a technical program in place, which I feel has been really, really positive the last year. The only thing I will say within an academy structure, the fruits of the labour doesn't come until another 3, 4, 5 years down the line. So yes, we have a foresight for what's going to happen long term, but then medium, short term is fundamental for us to be able to be successful.
We have a question from Tom for Val. What would a successful 25-26 season look like for you?
First of all, that we integrate all the new players, that all the new players perform like we expected, what we saw, why we took them, that the fan enjoy them, that can win a lot of games, and then actually to have a successful season to compete for something, I think would be perfect. So now just time to get that rhythm and to get everyone on the same level to perform. And I would add as well to have that luck to have the maximum of availability of the player, because injury is always the main problem in this league with all the amount of games. So if we can have a lot of availability of the player to integrate the new players and to perform, then it will give us the chance to compete for something.
Any of the messages you might have for fans this season?
Obviously, we need them on board. It's important. We had some situation last year. Let's start the season fresh. We need them to understand the project. We need them that it's a club need to be sustainable, that some decisions are in our hands, but some decisions out of our hands. When the players wants to leave, we have to respect it and make some decisions. So we need them to be on board. We need them behind the players. So when the game starts until the end, support the players, support the coach, support the staff, support the club. Then if they want to discuss, we're all happy to discuss, to be open, to be transparent for any question. But we support the clubs. We spend our day at the training ground because we want Blackburn the Rovers to succeed. We all going the same way. We all want the same thing, which is this club to be successful. So we have to unify and maybe not to try to listen to some small group to try to divide. So I'm calling for unicity and make sure that we all together for the next game to support the squad.
And final question from Joe for everybody. Where do you see Rovers in 3 years if everything goes to plan?
Back to the Premier League, that would be the response, that there is more behind this. So we need, as Val said, to integrate the new players, to be able to have academy players coming with the first team. It's also developing the club in terms of facilities. But the promotion will help with that, obviously. You can see all the clubs, once they get to the Premier League, they are able to build the club to a different standards and created even higher performance with people around the clubs going to help them to get to the next level. So it would be being successful and go back to the Premier League. That's the dream.
I think it's important, sustainability, to give the club a good chance to compete on the high level and not to rush, because you can go in the Premier League, but what's happened after? You see with Luton, you are in the Premier League and you are now in League One in short period of time, and you have to sell all the players and so on, and you start again and again. So we have to build something with everyone can rely on. So how we perform, how the way we want to play. I think this is most important, to have that identity, because that identity will bring you success and to go where you want to be, and to create as well at the same time around the club what you need to renew, to improve facilities, stadium, training ground, academy, to get that sustainability. And if you got the money, can you buy better young players? Can you help more, and in that way? So I think it's more a global project rather just to think on one thing. Yes, you want to go to the Premier League. Yes, it's possible. We saw it's possible quickly, but what's happened? What's next? What's happened after?
Splitting the foundations. So football, we know we're in this position today, but maybe next season, 2 years, we don't know if we're going to be in the same seat. So it's our job is to build a foundation that the next one will be able to step up from. And in 2 years, 3 years time, the club's going to be very strong to go to the next level and sustain there. So that's our job, to be able to build those foundations, strong foundation for our young players, for new players, and for the club.
From my point of view, it's the project and the reason and the excitement that I had coming into the club was to really help modernize a lot of the structures behind the scenes, modernize the way that we operated as a club, and the way that we see ourselves as not only as a player development machine, but also in terms of the way that we feel we want the team to look on the grass, on the pitch, every day in training, the information that we provide. For me, developing that little bit more of a sustainability approach to where we want to be. But for me, I'm excited in terms of seeing the process through the next season or two.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and best of luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.